Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make pom-poms. These are really super easy to make, and I've done a tutorial before on how to do them using an embroidery hoop, but this way that I have is a lot better. This time I'm going to be using an actual pom-pom maker. These are the Clover brand ones, and they come in 4 sizes. So this is the jumbo one. Actually, I think there's one bigger than this, but this is the big one. It's the medium one, and then the 2 smaller ones, this one and this teeny tiny little one here. So I'm going to show you how I made this pom right here using this yarn and the green one, this middle size one. So let's get started. So like I said, I've shown how to make pom-poms before using an embroidery hoop or just your hand, or you can even use a piece of cardboard to do it. But the reason I like these now, whereas before I wasn't so convinced, is that these are just a lot easier to use. They make your poms perfect and you can do them quickly. You can have all of them the same size and you don't really have to worry about how much you're adding on because each one will hold the same amount. And they're just they're quick and they're easy, and I don't see why you should make it any harder for yourself if you don't really need to. So yeah, this is the Clover one, and this is the one that I really like. I've seen other ones, but I just feel like these are smoother and more well made, I guess. So I prefer these. They have 2 sections pretty much. They have they have parts where so this part is where you add on your yarn. They unfold like this, and you wrap around both of these halves together, and then they have the same thing on the other side here. Now this is made up of two flat halves that come apart like this. So this looks like some kind of crazy contraption, I know, but it's really quite simple to use. So let's start. For this, I'm going to use my yellow yarn. Let me just unravel some of it out here so that it's easier to wrap. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to start with 2 of these held together, and you're going to get your yarn and hold it against one side. Now you're just going to wrap your yarn all the way around this until it's full. You want to keep it as even as possible, so just keep wrapping. So you want to keep wrapping all the way around and filling it up, but you don't want to, do anything like, you don't want to make big loops like this or anything, because then it pulls the yarn to different lengths, and when you cut it off later, it's going to be uneven. So it's going to be a little bit uneven anyways, but you want to keep it as neat as you possibly can. So just continue wrapping. If you want, you can kind of squish it back together so they're all in the same place. And then just work your way all the way around. You don't want to get the yarn on the foot like this, so make sure that stays off. And just keep going, just keep wrapping. You want to wrap until the center part here is like flat. You want it to be so full over here that it's just flat, or as flat as you can get it. But as you can tell, like, this is not enough, so you can just keep going. Okay, now you can see that we're almost there. Let's just do a little bit more. Okay. Now you can see that this part is basically flat. You have it all filled up with your yarn. So you're going to close this side back down. And it's going to fit nice and snug into this. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this yarn here. Just give it a little trim. And now you're going to fill up this side too. Now, I don't have enough of this yellow yarn to finish this half, but I'm going to use a different color, and that'll give me like a two-tone kind of pom-pom, but if you keep going with the same color, all of it will be the same color. So let me just go on and grab the other color, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I wrapped the other half in a black yarn instead of a yellow, but again, if you were going to do a pom-pom that was all the same color, you would just use the same color. This is just going to make half the pom one color and half the other. But either way, this is the same way you make it. I'm going to close this side down. I've already trimmed the excess off. And now we're going to start cutting. And so for this, you want to make sure you have a really sharp pair of scissors and just insert your scissors right into this gap between the two halves right here. I'm going to just go in here and start cutting. You might have to go little by little because the yarn really is packed in there. Okay, you have the first side cut. I just want to go ahead and cut the other side as well. Again, insert your... Once you've cut all the way around, make sure you don't have any extra strings. Oh, there's one. Cut that. Make sure you don't have any extra strings left over. And now you're ready to actually tie the pom together so that it doesn't unravel in the center. So for that, I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow yarn. Okay, here I have a length of that yellow yarn, and I'm just going to insert it in between the two halves of the pom-pom maker. Just want to go in and tie a knot, a half knot, right over it. Pull it tight, pull it all the way tight so that it goes inside and really secures the yarn in the center. You can tie another knot to make it even more secure. I also like to flip it over and bring the knots over to the other side. Again, just to make it more secure and make sure none of my little strings fall out. Pull it tight. And last knot. Okay. Now we can open this. So we're just going to take these little feet right over here. We're going to pull one up and pull the other one up. And do the same thing on the other side. Pull one up, now the other. Okay. And I can hold the pom-pom maker at the centers and separate them. I'll put that aside for now. And here is your palm. It's a little bit crazy looking right now and really uneven. So we're going to fix that. All you're going to do is grab your scissors and start rounding it out, being sure not to cut off too much. It can be really easy at this point to just keep trimming and trimming and trimming until you have a tiny little palm. But you just kind of want to round the shape out. So you just want to get the pieces that are really long. Normally you would do this over a trash can, but to show you, I'm going to do it right over here. You want to take your time with this because if you cut off too much at once, it'll be misshapen or it'll be too small. But you still want to, trim a good amount so that it's nice and full, but still round. So take your time, make little cuts. You can probably see that I'm holding the palm in one hand and I'm keeping my scissors pretty still and just rotating the palm a little bit so that any of those longer strands can just get snipped off. You can also just hold it and pull little bits off so it fluffs it up and you can get a better idea of how the shape is coming. You can see more of where the longer strands are. So you can see there's a few over here now. So I'm going to continue doing this for a little bit and then I will be back to show you the finished palm. And here is my finished palm. All I did was trim until I was happy with it, until I was happy with the shape and roundness of it, and yeah, like I said, it's really easy to get caught up and keep cutting and cutting and cutting until you have a tiny little palm or like nothing left, but you really have to know when to stop. And so here is my finished palm. You can see there's really nothing to it. You just wrap around the halves of the pom-pom maker and then you cut the sides open, put in your string to tie the centers, make sure it's nice and secure, and then you take it off the palm and then just trim and cut away the excess until it's round and the right size. If you want it to be smaller or bigger or whatever, well, you can't make it bigger, but until it's smaller and more even. I love how it turned out. And even though I ran out of the yellow yarn to show you the full thing, I like the black and yellow. I think it looks nice. Here are some of the other ones that I've done. Here's that fully yellow one from before. And then I actually used, this is the green maker I used. I actually used the yellow one for this. I think I said before that I used the green one, but it was the yellow. So let me actually show you the pom-pom makers next to them. Okay, so here are my finished poms. You can see that I just made this one right now with the black and yellow, and I used the green pom-pom maker to make it. I said earlier that I used the green one to make this, the smaller fully yellow one, but I actually used the yellow, I realized. And my smallest one smallest pink one made the silver, and this big old purple one is from this Blue Maker. I've actually made a ton of these and I have a nice little craft that I'm going to use this for. You can of course not trim off the long ends that you have from when you tie the centers. Keep those long if you're going to attach it to the top of a beanie or something. But there's a lot of other things you could do with them, so if you do want to chop them off at the end, that's fine. I have a lot of other poems that I've made, and I'm going to be using these to make something cool. So head on over to my blog to see what I do with all of these, and I will see you soon. Thanks for watching.